Welcome, everyone, to episode 33 of Kiss Meets the Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Eli Clausen.
And I'm the,
We are back. I want to apologize again for no episode last week. We tried to film it, and then, lo and behold, the technical bug struck us again. But we're back, so hopefully things are running smooth now. We'll see what happens. This week we're going to discuss cover songs that were done by other artists covering Kiss songs. Before we get into that, though, is there anything you wanted to talk about that's going on with Kiss?
I actually don't know of anything. Do you?
Well, one thing I wanted to mention just the other day happened to be the official 40th anniversary of Love Gun, the release date. So just wanted to kind of talk about that again. We've talked a lot about that deluxe edition of Love Gun.
Pull the trigger.
Bang, bang, you. But
that's not on that album, is it?
It's on the 40th anniversary edition, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just wanted to kind of acknowledge that being, one of my favorite Kiss albums. It's always kind of tied at number one for me. It's always hard to say. But, one of my favorite albums. Love the whole album from beginning to end. I love the overall recording quality of the way it was mixed and mastered. I love the whole overall sonic sound of the album. It has a real sonic boom to it.
Is that on that album?
It's on the 40th anniversary edition as well, yeah. The demo version. Yeah. Oh. So just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. No other real Kiss news going on as of late. They had added, I think, like one or two more dates to their random string of shows this year. It doesn't look like they're going to do an official tour here in the States. They're just kind of doing random dates this year. That's the way it looks to me. Up until the cruise happens, of course, and then see what happens after that. But other than that, it's pretty quiet in the world. No other new Kiss-related stories. I haven't picked up any new Kiss-related items recently. I don't know if you have.
No, but the other day, I think it was on Facebook, one of those pictures showed up from the unreleased Thrills in the Night video again.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it was the one of Paul and his short little afro-looking hairdo and some of the, I guess, receptionists that's in the video, supposedly.
Do you remember who posted it, or was it just some random person? Or
it was a Kiss-related, but I don't remember exactly. So that's probably the third or fourth picture I've seen from the... And, if there's still pictures, you can almost bet that the video exists.
Yeah, I almost wonder if they did that as sort of a tease to say that maybe it's going to get released pretty soon. Maybe someone got their hands on it.
Kissology 4.
That's, yeah. But again, I don't know. It could just be one of them things like with the other, the I video and all that stuff, where someone may have got a hold of the actual tape and it's going to get released, or maybe they were just posting the pictures to post the pictures like everyone does, and wishful thinking. But
I'd like to know where the original source of those pictures came from.
Exactly. And if that was any kind of sign of Kissology 4, I would be ecstatic, especially if that was a little bit of a clue of what's going to be on there, or even if it was on there as like an Easter egg. I mean, that would still be awesome. And
well, it's like I said before, if all the videos that exist, regardless of what group it is, there's all them behind the scenes and different takes and stuff. Any band you would think would have access to that, or at least that you think they would own it or something, and they could release just like a box set or a DVD of all their videos. Like Ozzy released all that video compilation recently. He could have had a whole nother disc of all the alternate takes, behind the scenes or whatever you call it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know there's a lot of those demos that are out there, but I like to think that maybe the stuff that Kiss has that isn't released, maybe those are a little bit better quality than what is released now. So that's, even though we've heard a lot of those demos hundreds of times, I would still love to hear a better sounding version of those too, if those exist. Stuff like, from the Revenge demos and the Lick It Up demos, all that kind of stuff. And, some of the drum tracks that Eric did, on the Lick It Up album and all that stuff. I'd like to hear better versions of those if better qualities do exist. If not, then I guess we'll just have to be satisfied with what we've had. But but
there's so much more out there that they could release. We've said that before. That's not technically demos or unreleased. The fact that it's a live concert we've never heard. Might have heard the songs a million times, but that's unreleased. They could release that for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And we've talked a lot about all these concerts that are out there. They're all getting released on bootleg now. I mean, they always have, but it seems like even more now. You're seeing a lot more get released almost weekly, it seems like. And then they're really nice looking packaged, vinyl editions on top of that, which is, Kiss could just be making an extra fortune on top of what they already make if they would do that stuff themselves. And, I think we're kind of at the point now that's the kind of stuff that all of us fans want, is just more of the stuff from the archives, not so much a brand new album or anything like that, even though, that would be kind of cool in a way. But it's like, me personally, myself, I would rather start getting more stuff from the archives, like some of these old concerts that are unreleased and music videos. And
oh, speaking of which, there was some recent news I just thought about. Do you see that on, I don't know where I read it at, that Gene recorded 2 songs with Ace?
Yes, that was a recent thing that popped up. I forgot about that. So yeah, obviously Ace is working on his next record, which I'm assuming is the volume 2 for the Origins. So yeah, he's working with Gene now finally. We kind of expected that because we heard on the last album that he had tried to get Gene, but I guess something didn't work out schedule wise at the time, and obviously he did the song with Paul. So now he did 2 songs with Gene. Whether both those songs show up on the album or just one, I'm not sure, but interested to hear what that turns out to be and what songs they did, let alone the whole album itself, because I really enjoyed Volume 1 and looking forward to hearing Volume 2.
Well, I think Volume 3 he's going to be recording with his stunt double from Kiss Me.
They're gonna reenact the stage fight. And then I saw a picture recently too of Ace where it looked like he has lost some weight again and kind of slimmed back down. And of course, people are quick to jumping in. There's more to that then. Since he lost weight, and he's working with Gene now, so there's more to it.
Picture I seen, they said he looked really fit, and he had his arms crossed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he looked like he had been tanning or something too, and his hair looked different. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you remember that show he did? I don't know how many years it's been now. It was like a ghost stories show.
Oh yeah,
that talked about ghosts or whatever.
Yep.
If you look at him on that show, his skin looks really bad, and he has a lot of scars and wrinkles, and now his skin is really smooth and clear, because I know Gene had one of those face peels or whatever they called it when he had his facelift.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that Ace has probably done some things like that.
Right. And I'm not saying he hasn't lost a little weight now and gotten a little bit better shape again, but at the same time that picture is a little distant. So it's kind of hard to tell exactly, it's not giving the true look, as if you will, as a lot of the other photos that were more up close, and you can obviously see the weight that he put on. But yeah, I mean, just from that view, it does look like he has lost some more weight again. and I don't read into it any more than just what it is. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, that suddenly means that he's going to play with Kiss again, and he deserves to play with Kiss more than just that final show and all this and that. And that could be debated, till the cows come home. But it's
Till the Kiss comes home.
Yeah, till the Kiss comes home. I don't read into it any more than that. That's my opinion. But
who posted that? Do you remember? Was it was that on Facebook or?
I saw that on Facebook on one of the Kiss groups, and I think it was just one of the members on that group posted it. I'm not sure exactly where the source came from. I don't know if it came from Ace's Facebook or website or anything like that, or if a particular website or magazine shot that and they posted it. I'm not sure. I just remember seeing it. I just kind of glanced at the comments. As soon as I started seeing that stuff, I just kind of moved on.
I thought he was like standing in front of a fountain or something. It looked like outside, maybe. I couldn't really tell.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to look for it now, but my internet is not working right.
But I mean, more power to Ace. I mean, getting in better shape again. That's good. I mean, obviously that's the way we all know Ace and like to see Ace. So I'd like to know his secrets.
Yeah, I mean, and he also was on Eddie Trunk recently too.
Again?
Yeah. Yeah, that was posted. I just seen that like the day before yesterday. I think I hadn't listened to it, but I guess it's the whole show.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look that up and see what he's talking about. Oh yeah, there was another thing because I think I had mentioned this last week when we tried to do the show, so I guess I'll mention it again. Is Gene was kind of back in the news again a little bit. Of course, since the recording of the previous show we did, he had decided to drop the whole trademark thing, whatever you want to call that, the case or whatever. But then within like a few days, he's right back in the news. He had met the Dalai Lama. Gene was I think it was in Nashville at the Fanboy Expo. I guess the Dalai Lama was there, and Gene, he was sitting in the crowd with all the people. They had the Dalai Lama up on the little stage, and Gene was there basically in honor of his mother, and he was speaking really really nice words about the Dalai Lama, and telling him what he means to his mother, and of course Gene tends to get emotional when he speaks about his mother, so that happened. But I thought that was a really cool clip, and there was a little small clip afterwards where they were sort of meeting face to face, and Gene was kind of teaching him to do the horn signal and all that stuff. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
That was on Ace Frehley's page.
Okay. But so I thought that was a cool little clip, and it really showed again I guess the human side, if you will, to Gene, and the type of guy he really is. A lot of these people that don't really know that well, that jump all over him and think that he's all about the money and this and that, especially with the whole trademarking the devil horn thing, that the people that believe that he was seriously trying to do that, those are the same kind of people that, I'm not going to get into it, but it was just nice to see that quickly after that whole thing was dropped, and then within days he's right back in the news on something of that level, speaking with the Dalai Lama, and just thought that was really cool. Wanted to mention that a little bit on the show. Did you see those clips yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you ought to check them out. It's pretty cool. So cover songs done by other artists covering Kiss music. Obviously the place to start would probably be the Kiss My Ass compilation album that they put out.
Yeah, because I think that's where it seemed like a lot of compilations and cover songs showed up after that.
Definitely, yeah. I'm not sure of the whole timeline, but so I'm not sure if there were any Kiss covers before that had come out, or if there were not many.
I think from time to time there was. I remember that black metal band Bathory.
Yeah.
They did Black Diamond on a box set, and I'm sure there's a lot of random ones. I know Anthrax did some stuff probably before the
6 Feet Under did War Machine.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they had put out a couple covers albums that were kind of fun to listen to. But, yeah, starting with the Kiss My Ass, I mean, there were definitely some standout tracks on there I love. You know, like you just mentioned, Anthrax, their version of She. You can even go down when they did a version of Parasite on one of their EPs. That was great. Garth Brooks' version of Hard Luck Woman, I absolutely love that. They performed that. What late night show was that they performed on?
I want to say it was Conan, but I'm not sure.
Okay, it might have been, Conan being a big Kiss fan himself. But that was really cool, though. It was, you know, I was always kind of a Garth Brooks fan before that, but then once I heard that, it like really, you know, made me like him that much more, because I'm like, oh, he's a Kiss.
His stage show was influenced by Kiss, is what I heard him say before.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's pretty obvious when you think about it.
It's like, hey, the guy's a Kiss fan, now I like him that much more, and he did that song a phenomenal job. You know, but those are probably my two favorite tracks on the album. I mean, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tone, Detroit Rock City, that's kind of cool.
You know, that's sort of got like a little bit of an orchestra flavor to it, like what they did later on Kiss Symphony.
True, yeah.
Some of the same parts in that song that they used later. I mean, maybe that's just a coincidence, or maybe that is the only way that they could. I don't know enough about orchestration to comment too much, but I noticed that because I was listening to that today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a cool version. You know, I'll even say Lenny Kravitz's version of Deuce wasn't all that bad either. I mean, definitely, I don't listen to it as much as I do the originals, obviously, but it wasn't that bad. But those were the standout tracks on that one for me. But
well, here's this is Paul Stanley doing his impression of Garth Brooks right there. See that? What?
I was just going to say I was actually watching a little video earlier. It was like this compilation of different like interviews they did back in the 80s, and it was when they were on Geraldo with Willie Nelson. That was pretty entertaining. Like it almost seemed like they picked up a few things from Willie by listening to him talk, and you know the way you hear them talk down the road now. But that was it.
I was going to ask you if the Japanese version of the Kiss My Ass had bonus tracks on it. Do you know?
As far as I know, it doesn't. I know the vinyl has an extra track that the CD doesn't. That version of Unholy, and I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's like an orchestra kind of that's doing that, or am I thinking Black Diamond?
I was thinking that there was two versions, or maybe one version that had a German band on there, or there was the same band. Is that what it was?
The vinyl version that has that German band, the ones that do Holy. I'm thinking of Black Diamond is by that orchestra group on the CD. But yeah, it has that extra track. It's that German band doing Unholy. I can't remember too much about it, so that probably tells you how much I liked it. So definitely wasn't one of my favorite covers, but so just thinking of some of my favorite covers just off the top of my head. We already mentioned the Anthrax stuff, but then what was it? White Zombie.
Oh yeah, they did God of Thunder.
They did God of Thunder as well.
Well, it was on their box set, and then they did it live on that VH1 Honors.
Yeah, with Ace.
Hmm.
which was kind of odd, and that could get into another discussion about the whole Hall of Fame thing, but whatever. So what's some of the ones you could think of right off the top of your head that are your
Well,
favorites?
after Kiss My Ass came out, I started, noticing other CD like Kiss tribute CDs coming out, and the one of the first ones I bought after that was oh, what's the name of it? It has it's a black cover. It has like a pair of lips on the cover, and it's a lot of the like not necessarily grunge bands, but bands from that time period from the '90s. And Nirvana is on there doing "Do You Love Me,"
Oh, cool.
and I thought that was very odd because I don't know. It just seems like that Nirvana they embrace things, but then they don't want to admit it.
Right.
But when you listen to their version of the song, it's almost like they're making fun of the song, because of the lyrics, and how it talks about wanting money and fame and all that kind of stuff. And I'd read different things about Kurt Cobain really wanted that kind of thing, but he didn't want people to know that he wanted it. So I think that's part of the reason that he wanted to cover the song.
Wow. I'm not sure if I
can't-
ever heard that.
I can't think of who else is on there as far as band names. I want to say the Melvins are on there doing. I want to say it's God of Thunder, which is interesting if I remember right. It's called Hard to Believe. That's the name of it. Hard to Believe, a Kiss covers or something like that.
Yeah, there are actually
One of the first ones that I bought, I remember.
there are actually a lot of Kiss tribute CDs out there if you really go and look. I mean, there's I used to have one. What was it called? It might have been called Kiss of Death or something like that, and it was basically like death metal, extreme thrash bands doing Kiss songs, like really heavy versions, and that was always kind of a fun listen. And then another one that was called Spin the Bottle. That one was a little more commercial.
That's a good one.
Yes, that had Bob Kulick, tons of great artists on there, well-known artists.
I like the version of Detroit Rock City with Dee Snider doing it.
See, I haven't listened to that in a long time. I need to pull it up, and I don't know if I still have the CD. I know I have the DVD that came with it, which I haven't seen that in a long time either. I need to go back and revisit that. But
So I want to say that, and I don't know if this is true. I'd have to look at it, but I want to say that Bob Kulick produced that album.
he probably did, yeah. Because I know he's definitely on there playing, probably even more than one song. If I just don't remember right now.
And that sort of reminds me of being at the Kiss Expo when he was there. I wish we would have bought some of those CDs he had on the table there.
I know. I kept looking at them, but it was just like I couldn't decide, which one, and obviously I couldn't buy them all. And but then at the same time, that was when we were kind of wanting to try to talk to him, but we couldn't really get to him anyway because somebody was talking his head off, and so we were just kind of looking at the CDs while we were standing there, and we probably couldn't even bought one if we had tried. We probably could have been standing there with the whole stack of CDs ready to buy them, and then we couldn't have bought them. He'd be wanting to, but then that guy's talking his head off, and missing out on the sale. But I'd like to go back at some point and, like if he's got a website or something, maybe order them off of there, or a couple of them.
He had a lot of artists on one of them that he worked with, and I don't remember the name of it right off, but that's the one that I thought looked the most interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but I do remember looking at some like, wow, this is cool, this is cool. I think, didn't he even have like a Christmas one that, like, even that would be cool. I like getting a lot of different Christmas type music for that time of year.
Alice Cooper was on that one. And
Yeah.
T.O. was on there, and I don't remember who else.
Yeah, like I say, if you go and look, there are a lot of Kiss tribute albums out there. I've got a bunch on my computer. It's music. I believe it was the Kiss FAQ, like message board. Someone was putting together tribute CDs called Music from the FAQ, and there's like numerous ones of those. I've got a lot of those. There's some great stuff on there. I definitely recommend looking all those up. And But I'm trying to think of some of the other.
Well, there was a series of some that I actually bought one of them at a Kiss Expo, the Indie Kiss Expo, quite a few years ago. And I don't have all of them. I wish I did. I don't know how many volumes there is right off, but it was KOAL.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the one that I have is a double CD. It's called Spirit of '76.
Yes.
And a lot of those, I think the premise of it went to some sort of charity. And there's a version of Radioactive on there, and it's in the style of the Partridge Family. And I mean, that alone is worth buying it for if you can find it. I don't know if they have a website still or what, but then they had one that was called Music from the Folder.
Yeah.
I want to say that was all from the Elder, but I think it might have been various songs from Kiss.
I want to say I have that one on my computer here, but that other one, I'd definitely like to hear that. And actually, I just remember too, Mitch Lafon had put together a tribute album a couple of years back. I remember him speaking about it when he was on Three Sides, and again, I can't remember what it was called or if that ever did come to be released or not, but I would definitely have to check it out because he was lining up some, good name musicians at the time. From what I remember him speaking about it. And trying to think, there was this band, what the hell are they called now? ROTR, I believe is what they're called. And they did a cover of Do You Love Me also. And it's a really different version because it's almost like, I guess in a way it's almost like sort of like a dance mix, but then it's still kind of that 80s hard rock at the same time. And they use samples, of Paul, like some of his stage raps from the Alive album. They kind of put those throughout the song, and it's kind of a little mix. And I just ran across that at a record show one time and never heard of it before, had no idea who it was. Looked at the back of the cover and I saw a little picture where they're all wearing Kiss makeup, so I was like, oh cool, like I'll pick this up, and just because it's something that's kind of Kiss related. And once I listened to it, it definitely wasn't what I expected, but I did dig it though. It was kind of a cool little different take on Do You Love Me, the way they mixed it together like that.
Not only is there a lot of Kiss covers, but then there's a whole different type of song that other bands did before Kiss released their version. The first thing that comes to mind is the Wendy O. Williams, It's My Life.
Oh, yeah.
It's technically a Kiss song, but that's her cover version of a song that we didn't know. At least I hadn't heard it until the box set came out.
Thief in the Night, too, right? Yeah.
I think that was another one. I know there was another one.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to say, I noticed that a lot of the cover songs I've seen, aside from Rock and Roll Night, is You See I Was Made for Loving You covered a lot.
Yeah, true. Yep.
I guess because it was a hit, in different countries. So there's a lot of the ones I've seen, or you can tell their normal language isn't English.
The Wendy O. Williams thing, to me, the version of It's My Life that's on the box set is a cover of Wendy O. Williams' version, because I'm not sure what the original version sounded like, but the way the version on the box set sounds, to me, sounds exactly like a cover of the way Wendy O. Williams did it, the way it's arranged, and
right.
The same melodies and all that.
Well, I'm sure there's a Kiss demo version of that originally. And then there's probably a Wendy O. Williams demo version of it.
Probably. I may have the Kiss demo version on here. It might be in that collection I gave you. There's just so much on there I can't remember right now. But I'm just thinking that version that's on the box set, which they tried to play off as that was the original version or whatever. But
well, I was going to say too, there was and I don't remember. I wish I had this one. There was a cover. It was Unmasked. It was called Unmasked or Uncovered, one or the other, and it has like a semi-naked girl on the cover, and I think it's the whole Unmasked album that that was covered by different groups, and I'd really like to get a hold of that one.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, God, even as far as like there were tribute albums for Ace Frehley, and
Yeah,
I'm thinking right off the bat, like Dimebag Darrell did a cover of Fractured Mirror, that was great. Um, Man, there's so many different covers out there that you kind of don't realize.
well, even Poison did Rock and Roll All Night was on that Poison CD, but I think it was on a B-side before they released it on that CD.
Right, and then I guess you could technically say that Ace did cover Rock and Roll Hell.
Right.
Um,
Which is hilarious to think.
Right. And,
it's just awesome.
And he kind of sort of covered himself by doing a different version of like Parasite, I don't know, in a way.
Well, he did Hide Your Heart at the same time Kiss was doing it practically, so that's, I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't even know if that would be considered a cover or not. I mean, he wasn't in the band.
Right, and then, because, what was her name? Bonnie Tyler was the one that did it originally.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's like, who did it first though, Kiss or Ace? And then they happen to release it.
Wasn't Bachman Turner Overdrive? Didn't they do it too? Or is that Rock and Roll Hell? I'm thinking of
that was Rock and Roll Hell, but when Kiss redid it, it was pretty much a rewriting of it. It wasn't exactly a cover,
like different lyrics.
Right, because if you go and listen to the BTO version, it's different lyrics, different arrangements and stuff. But
just
essentially,
like the God Gave Rock and Roll to You.
Right, exactly, right. Man, who was it that did? There was a really good cover of Cold Gin at one time.
Well, I have an album by I guess it's a local band, and that's not the one you're thinking of. The band is called Kim Dine. It has like a biohazard thing on the front, like toxic waste spewing out of it or something, if I remember. And they do Cold Gin. And it's a ridiculous version because they don't even sing the lyrics right. It's like they're doing it from memory, and their memory is not remembering it the way it was supposed to be.
Wow.
I think you're talking about maybe was Death Angel.
Oh, okay.
It's on their album Frolic Through the Park, and I used to have that on cassette, and it's like that version is really good.
Well, I want to say that it involves Sebastian Bach, the one of them that I'm thinking of.
Sebastian he did Rock Bottom, and he did Come On and Love Me.
Well, that was Skid Row.
Skid Row, yeah. And then I've heard like 4 or 5 songs, Kiss songs he's done. I don't remember what the rest of them are.
Maybe what I'm thinking of, because I'm not sure if they ever officially did it, but I'm thinking it was on a video, one of the Pantera videos. It was a live clip of him with Pantera, and they were doing Cold Gin.
Yeah, I remember that. And Ace was on there on stage with him too.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was thinking of. So I'm not sure if they had ever officially recorded it that way.
Phil and Dimebag, and I guess what's the drummer's name? I think that's the drummer
Vinnie
they had.
Paul.
It was either him or the guy from Skid Row. I don't remember which was playing drums, but they had makeup on.
I think it was Vinnie, yeah. And was Snake Sabo out with them too?
There was a couple Skid Row guys up there.
He probably was, because I know he's a big fan too. I remember
it was on the Skid Row home video. I don't know if it was "Oh Say Can You Scream." It was either that one or the one that came out after that. I don't remember the name of it, but
so I used to have that magazine where him and Dimebag are on the cover, dressed as Ace.
Yeah,
and they have that photo shoot, and they did some photos with Ace. And
it's Guitar Player magazine.
Yep. I used to have that. Don't know whatever happened to it, but
I think there's a centerfold in there too of Ace with a bunch of guitars, if I remember right.
I think so, yeah. And then I think it even shows. Well, I know on their home video it shows when Dimebag was actually getting that signature tattooed on him.
The Pantera home video.
Yeah, I want to say it's the Vulgar video, because a lot of people know he had the Ace picture from the solo album, and then eventually Ace signed his chest right under it, and he had that tattooed in too. And there's video footage of him getting it tatted in on that video. Um, I know, but speaking of Pantera, I know they did quite a few Kiss covers, whether it was recorded or not. They used to do. They did. Well, obviously the Cold Gin, and then I'm trying to think because when they toured, when they opened for Kiss, I think that, they were like kids in a candy store. They did. What the hell was it they did? Shit.
It was probably Bang Bang You.
I'm having a brain fart. It might come to me, but again, I'm not sure if they ever officially recorded a Kiss cover. I don't recall that they have. Just Dimebag on his own.
I'm surprised that people like bands like Pantera or like Skid Row or Sebastian Bach. I'm surprised they haven't done a whole Kiss album on their own.
Yeah, I would.
Such fans.
I'm surprised. Well, I mean, I'm going to say this, but I guess at the same time, Kiss My Ass is kind of that same idea, but I'm kind of surprised they haven't done the type of cover tribute album as they did with Black Sabbath. With the Nativity in Black, they did 2 of them with
Right.
a lot of the big major name.
Yeah, and that first one is really good.
Yes, and honestly, I love both of them. But like I say, Kiss My Ass was kind of along that line, but again, that's been so long ago. You would kind of think by now that maybe they would have done at least one with like a lot of the big name artists on there.
What would be cool, and this is just cool by my opinion, I'm sure everyone doesn't feel like this, if they took a lot of the new artists, whoever's popular now, whether it's pop or rock or whatever, and have them do a Kiss tribute album, and the first one come to mind when I said that was Justin Bieber. And just because, I mean, I can't even imagine. Now, if you've seen him on that lip sync show, he was doing Ozzy's Crazy Train.
Oh, yeah.
He was dressed as Ozzy, and he did a really good job. Now, granted, he's not singing it, he's lip syncing. But, I just would love to hear him sing a Kiss song, just because I think about Adam Lambert and some of those that was on Idol singing with Kiss. That's not really the same thing, but a tribute album from the current artists, of course, I'll buy anything, but I'd buy it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the one I was thinking of when you said that was Lady Gaga. But
Well, I was going to say that, but I thought I'd let you say that.
oh, thanks. Just give me a reason not to buy it. But even like Dave Grohl and Foo Fighters, they did a cover of Detroit Rock City with Paul. They brought him out on stage with them.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And wasn't it on Paul's birthday? I believe.
Yeah,
why they did that.
It was either Paul's birthday or Dave Grohl's birthday. I don't remember which.
Yeah, one of the two. Of course, I draw blanks as we're doing the show. Like, I know there are so many other notable covers of Kiss songs. Let me think here.
Well, the obvious ones, I was trying to think, has anyone covered Beth as far as like a big name artist? I can't think of, and you would think that one for sure would have been covered, but nothing comes to mind really. Can't think of anything. I've heard some Rock and Roll Night versions, and I've heard Detroit Rock City, some of those. But Beth, you'd think somebody would have taken that song, re-recorded it as a modern version, and had a big hit with it, because it was one of those songs that I think a lot of artists, like, I don't know, I think about Norah Jones or somebody. I just think that they could have, modernized it enough to had a big hit with that one.
Right. Who wasn't there someone, like, I may be mistaken, but it seemed like there was someone that did a cover of I Love It Loud, and it was on one of those soundtracks to one of those 90s movies, and it was kind of like a different take on it. It played during the credits.
On the Detroit Rock City soundtrack, the Donnas did Strutter.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one there.
That is a good one, and they had got a good video for that too.
Yes, but I swear there was a cover of I Love It Loud.
Well, there was another Kiss cover on that soundtrack, I think, but I don't remember who it was.
On Detroit Rock City.
Wasn't there another one on there, or was it? Maybe I'm thinking about the Kiss song, that ballad that was on there. Maybe
Yeah, I think you're thinking of that. Well, I know. Speaking of that soundtrack, it's a little off subject, but the they were upset about the version of Detroit Rock City that they used, because they were supposed to put that re-recorded version that they did for the movie, that's in the movie, that was
Right.
supposed to be on the soundtrack. Well, then they screwed up and put the regular studio track on there.
Yeah.
So that had them, well, Peter, I guess, mostly pissed off.
And I don't think that's ever showed up on anything.
It's on, it's out there in the bootleg circuit, but never official. But I'm gonna have to look and do research, because I swear there was this one version of I Love It Loud that I was thinking of. Talk amongst yourself as I look.
Well, that KOAL that I was talking about,
Hmm.
or KAOL, I always say that backwards. They did a lot of songs from the Kiss solo albums.
Oh, yeah.
There's a great version of, well, there's a couple of great versions from the Paul solo album. Tonight You Belong to Me and Wouldn't You Like to Know Me is really good versions of that. And then there's a version of the Peter Criss song, I Can't Stop the Rain, which is one of my favorite songs on that album. You do it's sort of a faster rockin' version of that song. And then, like I said, Radioactive is on there. And I want to say Rip It Out is on Rip It Out, there's a cover. I don't know if it's on that CD or not. But some of the cover songs I've heard, I actually prefer them to the actual version. And the reason that I would say that is because I don't care for the like Rip It Out, for example, has never been my favorite songs on his solo album, believe it or not. And the cover version that I'm mentioning, which I can't think of the artist right off, I like better because it's not the same song. Because, some people will stick to the original arrangement, which I think is boring. And some people will change it up so much that, like, what song is this? And I almost prefer it sometimes to be changed up enough to where you don't recognize it.
Okay, I found it. It's the Funk Junkies, and it was on the Tommy Boy soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty different.
Yeah, I always remembered that, 'cause I'm pretty sure it plays during the credits, and I was like, whoa.
Now, if we can just get Kiss to play it live like that.
Or let alone get them to do the second verse completely
Well, yeah,
after all these years.
A whole nother conversation with me. I really wish they'd dropped that song completely from the set list, but
Yeah, at this point, and at this stage, I kind of agree. It just doesn't have quite the balls to it as it used to. Neither does War Machine, but again, that's a different conversation, like you said.
yeah. I mean, I could go on and on, but try to stick to the subject here if I can. I'm sort of running out of covers. Nothing's starting to come to mind. I think I know there's a lot more because, like I said, I sent you a link earlier today. There's a version of "I Was Made for Loving You" by the Global DJs,
Yeah.
and it's a very different version. It's very dance oriented. The lyrics are almost non-existent in the song. You can hear them fade in and out, but it's like an electronic type of I don't know if you call it house or what you call it really. But that's a different version from some of the others. And then I've heard there's a lot on YouTube. You can just a lot of people does instrumental versions, and then a lot of them is just with their acoustic guitar and them singing it. There's a version of Shandy on there that a guy did that is like a really good version, stripped down, even more than the Kiss version when they do it acoustic, I thought. And then if you remember the video for it's a group called Double Virgo, they do that to is it Any Way You Slice It? No, it's Secretly Cruel. You remember that? And they're all wearing makeup. I don't know if it's the same guy or if it's 4 different guys, but they're wearing makeup. The band is called Double Virgo.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
They do Secretly Cruel. You have to check that out. It's really, their version is really good, and I don't know if they've done any other Kiss songs after that, because that's been quite a few years ago.
Okay, speaking of Beth, according to this, there has been about 10 versions of that covered.
By Peter Criss or by
the cast of Glee.
Oh, okay, yeah, I have heard that. I've heard that.
Band called Gigantor. Yes, Peter Criss covered it himself on his one solo album. Nothing else that's...
It's an acoustic version. And then, of course, the version on Kiss Meets the Phantom is sort of acoustic.
Right. Let's see here. Strider...
Well, who do you think could take that song and have a big hit with it, like a modern artist?
Which song?
Like Beth, someone take that song, a modern artist, and have a hit with it. I'm trying to think. I picture a female vocal is what I picture, but then the lyrics are not going to be right for that. I mean, technically nowadays it doesn't matter so much, but I just picture a female taking that song and having a hit with it for some reason. But I prefer female vocalists.
Well, I don't know. One of the first things that popped in my head when you said that would be Adam Levine.
Adam Levine, yeah.
From Maroon 5.
That'd be really good.
He's got a great voice. I could just kind of picture him singing that, and I think he would do the song justice.
So Adam, if you're watching,
when we have him on next week, we'll ask him about it.
Speaking of which, this is off subject, but did you ever see that show called Sing Your Face Off?
No.
It was on one season, and Sebastian Bach was one of the guest celebrities, and he dressed up and sang like Adam Levine. Have to check that out. It's on YouTube. He also did Lady Gaga. He did Willie Nelson.
Wow. Wow. Speaking of Sebastian Bach, I think he might be able to do a pretty good version of Beth.
Yeah.
I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head right now, though. What about you?
Well, like I said, I picture somebody like Norah Jones doing it because it's sort of like that type of song for her already. She wouldn't have to change the arrangement hardly at all.
Maybe like Sarah McLachlan.
Mm-hmm. Or to be totally opposite, somebody like Green Day. Because they had that Time of Your Life song, which was a ballad. I think they could take Beth, and it'd be interesting.
That would be very different. Or Jack White, I could hear him.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I could hear him doing a version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could make a list of make our own Kiss tribute band and make a list of who we'd like to do what song. That'd be sort of interesting.
That now that we talked about it a little more, I'm kind of wanting that to happen now, as far one of those tribute albums with the bigger name bands and artists on there, kind of like Nativity in Black. I'd love to have something like that come out pretty soon.
So I'm thinking of like a modern. Who would you consider a metal band? The first thing I thought of was Volbeat. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not.
I've heard of them, but never really listened to their music.
But even Metallica, there was a video that surfaced. It was this year of Metallica doing, I think it was Detroit Rock City. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
It was at their practice, it wasn't even a sound check. They were looked like it was backstage. It wasn't on stage.
Huh.
And they were doing Detroit Rock City just random. They half knew the lyrics. It's like Kurt knew the guitar parts and James knew a little bit of the lyrics. So they were just playing it like that. It's on YouTube because I seen it on Facebook. It was just entertaining.
That's pretty cool because sometimes I would get the impression that they didn't really like Kiss, or at least Lars, because there would be I'd see little video clips here and there, and there was one where they went to a club to watch a Kiss tribute band. And he said something about these guys are better than the real ones will ever be, or something like that, and that just always kind of made me think he doesn't really like them, and he's pretty much bashing on them in a way. But I could be wrong.
It's funny, even if they don't like a Kiss, I'm sure they probably heard that music so much that it's ingrained into their head somehow, or at least the melody part of it. Well, I think there was a tribute album that Motorhead did Shout It Out Loud.
Really?
And I think it might have been that Spin the Bottle. I think it's on there.
See, now I need to pull that out because we've been talking about it. Now I want to hear it again.
Mm-hmm. And one of those compilations I either have or used to have, there's a barbershop quartet version of Rock and Roll All Night. And I've looked for that on YouTube, and I can't find it because I can't remember the name of the artist. But I think I have the CD somewhere, or I used to. And that one's really different.
I would definitely like to hear that.
And then there's a band called Coffin Break that does a punk rock version of Beth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a hidden track at the end of the CD. I think it's Coffin, but anyway, it might not be anyway. They're on there too. It might be that Hard to Believe one with Nirvana on it. I think it's on that compilation.
Yeah, I was kind of running through the list there of a bunch of the different covers. There's so many covers. I mean, multiple versions of the same song by different artists. A lot of stuff on there. A lot of stuff I didn't even know. Like Black Veil Brides did a cover of Unholy with Zakk Wylde.
Wow. Back
in 2011, it said, I'd like to hear that.
It almost makes you want to find it all and put it all on your own box set or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that could be, how many discs could that be?
Man, I don't know, but cause I sort of did that with Marilyn Manson. I was looking up all of the songs that he covered and kind of collected them all and put them on the CD or whatever. But
too bad he doesn't do a Kiss song, or does he?
Not that I know of. I don't believe he has.
I know he has done a lot of covers. Because he does Personal Jesus and...
oh, yeah.
What's the other one I'm thinking of?
Tainted Love.
Tainted Love, that's the one I was trying to think of.
Sweet Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I could hear him doing a Kiss cover. Maybe something like Got to Choose.
I wish. I wish I could just wish it and it would happen.
Right. Do this cover, Manson.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of weird, he was on the Detroit Rock City soundtrack doing a cover song, by the way. But, so it makes you wonder if he would.
Did he do? Was it The Boys Are Back in Town or something, or was that Bon Jovi?
That was Everclear. He did Highway to Hell.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of makes you wonder, okay, they obviously sort of work together, and he should do a Kiss cover at some point. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he doesn't like them, but...
Well, I'm sure he was influenced by Kiss. It seems like when I read his book, it seems like that he was a Kiss fan. I want to say, but I don't. My memory is terrible.
I'm sure he probably was, and unfortunately, some of them guys they sort of grow out of it and become an anti-Kiss type of person, but
Or the Antichrist.
yeah, but that's all that matters. They had that influence there at one point from the start, and it definitely helped influence what they ended up doing in their music career.
I think, sort of what we had the topic of our one episode, how Kiss has influenced pop culture. And a lot of bands that you would have been, you never thought would have been influenced by Kiss, they have been, whether they admit it or not. But a lot of them have admitted it, based on like the reunion tour that was coming out of the woodwork. They were just waiting for it, like all the regular fans were.
Right. I mean, like I said earlier, I didn't know that Garth Brooks was a fan until that time, and bands like Alice in Chains and STP and all that, they were giddy as hell to be able to open up for them. And from what I heard, they were like, I think it was STP would play bits of Kiss songs in between their stuff, and it was kind of like getting to be overkill. Like, whoa, like you're playing stuff that we're gonna play on our set. Like, calm down. But it was really cool, that kind of stuff. And when I saw how big of fans that Pantera was, coming out wearing the makeup and all that stuff, and it's awesome. And tons of stuff that's out there. It's like, I didn't know they were Kiss fans.
Yeah, I'm sort of wanting to find some more Kiss covers that I haven't heard now.
Yeah, that might be the next project. Kind of go through that list and try to find all of them.
Or at least, find the best of,
Yeah.
all of them that you can find, and then narrow it down to like a best. Like, it'd have to be probably a double CD still, because it'd be so many of them.
Make an unofficial Kiss My Ass Volume 2 or something.
Well, and that's another thing. How many tracks didn't make it on that album?
Well, see, that's the thing, too. Like, there was the talk about, Megadeth was supposed to be on there originally. According to Gene, or what I've heard, there was a whole list of bands like Alice in Chains and Stone Temple Pilots. A lot of bands that I felt maybe that album would have been that much better had a lot of those bands been on there.
I'm wondering if all that was recorded.
Not sure. I mean, there are some Megadeth covers of Kiss songs, so maybe one or two of those were meant to be for that album. But it's a good album. I could listen to it, but I think it would have been 10 times better had a lot of those bands been on it that were supposed to originally be on it. And I think it would have been closer to the level of a Nativity in Black had it come, with Megadeth and Alice in Chains, STP, and whoever else that was rumored to be on it at the time.
Well, the thing that confused me about it, if you watch some of the I guess commercials, or I don't know if you call them commercials, but the ads that are actually on the Kiss home videos, they include that as part of the Kiss discography.
Yes. It's kind of weird, but because Kiss themselves doesn't actually perform on it other than Gene's voice at the beginning of.
A tribute band called Gene's Addiction.
Is there?
Because I think Gene, they gave him a shirt, and it was a picture of Gene in makeup and costume, and it was like, how the Cheap Trick shirt is multiple like Xerox copies of the logo.
Yeah.
Well, it was like a Xerox copy of Gene, sort of overlapping the same picture, and it said Gene's Addiction on the back or the front. And I don't know if that was a tribute band or not, but I thought the name was cool.
It may have been at one time, but I definitely have to find out more about some of the artists that were supposed to be on Kiss My Ass, and again, go through and find, like you said, either the best of covers or find all of them.
or the worst of. You can make a worst of, and then you can make the best of.
Yeah, the worst of might be a little bit longer than the best of. I don't know.
Well, knowing me, I would probably like the worst of.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I want to get it all, because
Mm-hmm.
the good and bad, I want to hear their versions of it.
The good, bad, and the ugly.
Like that Funk Junkies, I Love It Loud. It's not the greatest version ever, but I kind of like it because it's a little cheesy in a way, and it sounds like the mid '90s. You know, like that's how music was at that time. It just has that perfect mid '90s sound to it.
I like cheese. It's just you can't eat too much of it.
True, you might get constipated, so eventually you just got to get it out. Well, with that, I think we're going to wrap this thing up, and let us know in the comments what some of your favorite covers of Kiss songs were. And have we already discussed songs Kiss has covered?
Yeah, we did a podcast on that.
Okay, I figured we did. So, again, let us know what some of your favorite covers of Kiss songs were in the comments. And, again, keep spreading the word. We appreciate it. I wanted to give a shout out to, I ran across a thread on one of the Facebook pages where people were asking, what some of your favorite podcasts are. And, of course, everyone mentioned pretty much all the ones that you would think of. But then there was this one person that jumped out and said, hey, no, I haven't heard nobody mention Kiss Meets the Podcast yet. And he said something along the lines, we're still fairly new, and we may not be as polished as the other shows, but we're entertaining to listen to, and all that. So I definitely appreciate that. I think the guy on there. So it's nice to know that
maybe we can get him to be a guest.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. So we appreciate whether it's one person, 10 people, whatever. We appreciate you listening. We do this for fun. Just love talking Kiss. So if you guys sit in and like to listen and appreciate it and interact with us through the comments or Facebook or even coming on the show itself, so definitely appreciate that. And again, I guess sort of a hunt for another co-host is still going. It is still open.
Have a like a Rockstar in Excess show for it.
Yeah. American Idol. And you got to come on here and sing a Kiss song. And wait.
Then we pick the best cover.
Well, wait. You haven't sung a Kiss song on here yet.
Well, yeah, you said yet, so there's still time. That means there's still time.
Yes. So, all right then. Hope everyone has a safe and awesome 4th of July. It's the 3rd as we're filming this. So hope everyone had a great holiday. Stayed safe.
Yeah, don't stick fireworks down your pants.
Oh, why not?
I don't know why. Try it.
It's tingly.
It would be.
Yeah, just stick them in ant hills and mole hills and all that stuff. That's the fun part. So, all right, everyone. Thanks again for checking us out, and we will see you guys next week.